Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery. This is Hump Day Hangouts for March 1st, 2017. I believe this is episode 121. So, wow. And we've got Marco and Chris on right now. Adam's having some power issues, plus he's going to be muted when he joins today anyways because of construction going on in his house. So you're stuck with me today, guys. And what's up, Marco and Chris? How are you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Good. Marco, I think you had a few announcements, correct?
Yeah, well, number one is Video Powerhouse is live. I mean, after all this work, all this time, it's up, it's running, everything is running really smooth. We had a few hiccups here and there, which is why we didn't want to let everyone in all at once. We wanted to take care of all of these little issues that usually pop up. But if you guys haven't been in there already, if you're on the list, I mean, if you didn't get the email or whatever, that there were internet issues yesterday that were beyond our control. It's fixed for the most part. Go in there, check it out. I mean, the power of iframes, which is all a video embed is an iframe provided by YouTube. So why not take advantage of it? And along those lines, I will be doing a webinar on, I don't have the time yet, but it will be Monday, March 13th. It will be open to anyone. It'll be a public webinar, but it'll be especially useful for people who are in Video Powerhouse. Maps Powerhouse should be, all of the little technical things that we're tweaking should be done by then. But I did a webinar last year, and this is like building on that foundation. It's just explaining why it's so powerful, explaining what Google is seeing through iframes. It's just things that other people will not talk about, that other people charge thousands of dollars for also. And I'm going to give it to you for free. So come in as soon as it goes live, check it out. You know, it's always limited. We can't have 2,000 people on the webinar. So when it goes out, make sure you go in and you register and you get ready for something that's going to be what I feel is some really powerful information that you can put to use right now. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, I'll be going in for back surgery in the next couple of months. I'm sitting around too long. I'm not supposed to do that. So I have to go get that taken care of. So I'll be away for a while. I don't know how active I'll be. And even along those lines, I don't know how much activity I'm going to be having on the internet. I mean, coming up, I'm 53 years old, dude. And it's getting about time to put Marco out to pasture. And so
this gray mare, she ain't what she used to be, huh?
Dude, no, not anymore. The body doesn't do what the mind says do anymore. Mind is still great. The body isn't so good. And so I'm thinking of putting a group together, a group of people where I'm just going to give them what's inside my head. I'm going to be sharing my knowledge. And so, I don't know how it's going to be done. I'm just putting it out there. I'll put out I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyone that wants to learn what's in my head and how I do the shit that I do, how I come up with all of this crap that's inside my head, I am going to be willing to share it. And it's before I go. I don't want to go with all of the stuff that I have inside my head because it'll be a waste, right? And so it's just a way to let's get some people in there who are really know their stuff, who want to know more, and who want to just knock the shit out of Google, because you know what I say, man. I don't want to say it. I love saying it, but I'll keep it to myself. You know how I feel about that. And so
are we going to
that's what I have.
Are we going to try to do that webinar on Monday the 13th, I think you said it was?
Yes, I don't know the time yet.
Okay. So we'll announce. We'll have the time and everything set up for next week, Wednesday, guys, and we'll make sure that we post the link during next Hump Day Hangout for people to sign up. Plus, we'll probably email it out and shoot it out through social media and all that kind of stuff as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
You know, when Marco says he's willing to give away the farm, that means be there, clear your schedule. So, with that said, do we have what other announcements do we have? Anything?
Wasn't there something about the course that you can pick up if you pick up Video Powerhouse?
Oh yeah. There's a video prospecting or Vmail prospecting, video email prospecting course. Guys, we've talked about this on Hump Day Hangouts on several different occasions, and I had an old course that I had put together years ago, like literally, I think back in 2012. So it was 5 years ago. That was, dated, and it was for another company when I was doing branding services with two ladies for realtors. And anyways, it was I updated it recently for the Video Powerhouse launch, and you can purchase that as inside of Video Powerhouse right now at a discount. It's been updated, like I said, just I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago is when I recorded it and updated it. And then I think after the launch, I'm actually going to go back into the course and beef it up a little bit more, and even give some like real world examples instead of like just being training. I'm going to do some like case study, essentially type training videos after the launch is over, because we'll probably raise the price on that Vmail prospecting course as well. It's a really good course. We've had a lot of good comments on it already. And I mean, you guys can get the free version that is dated. If you go to bradleybenner.com/Vmail, but again, the updated version, which has some new things in there that weren't in the original, that you can get through Video Powerhouse currently. And then again, once the launch is over, within the next few weeks, I'm probably going to go back in and add some additional training to it to show some examples of like what a prospecting video would look like, and that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend that you check it out, because any of you that are doing client work, I know the worst part for me for client work was to initiate the conversation. I hated cold contacting. I absolutely hated cold contacting. And I found a way to use video-based emails to get through to the business owners in a unique way, and that usually would generate or at least initiate a conversation. And I would get as much as 3 or 4 out of every 10 emails that I would send out. I would get a response back from 3 or 4 of the people that I would send it to, and then I'd typically end up closing about 60 to 80% of them. So I would get between 2 to 3 closes out of 4. If 4 people responded, I would get 2 or 3 people closed into some sort of job. Whether it was SEO or social media or an ifttt network or whatever. So I highly recommend that you check it out if you're doing client work. And if you hate cold contacting, which is what I hated more than anything, then that's a good course for you. So, okay. Do we have anything else? Or can we get into questions?
Let's get to it.
Okay. Adam is muted, but Adam showed up. Hey, Adam. So, all right, guys, I'm going to take the screen and we're going to get into, we've got some good questions already. So give me one moment. You guys tell me when you can hear me again. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. There's some odd delay with this jam session room, whatever, when we take the screen. All right. So Wayne and all his memes. Thanks, Wayne. We certainly appreciate it. Love laughing at these. But we had a question, I guess, there for whatever reason, the comments were closed on the event page for a couple days. So Jay Mystery was wise enough to post a comment on the photo. So he found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So here's the question from Jay. He says, hi, guys. I have a question about ranking videos and links. I've seen a strategy where you can create, say, 300 unique videos, optimize them, and create a playlist. In the description of each video, there is a link to the previous video and unique Google shortened link. G plus link is 404. I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. Sorry. That should be the link. So I'll click on it and see what happens. Works for me. So not sure what you're talking about, Chris. Anyways, All right, in optimize them and create a playlist. In the description of each video, there is a link to the previous video and unique Google shortened link, all pointing to a Google Doc. In the doc, there is one anchor text link pointing to a website. 5 videos are uploaded each day until the end of the campaign. In your opinion, would this be a good strategy to increase the rankings for a website? And also, could this be used to point the link in the doc to a video playlist to rank videos? I'm going to let Marco answer that, but it sounds like a sound strategy. What do you got to say about it, Marco?
Yeah, we're using something very similar to this, or I've used it. If you can create 300 unique videos, good luck. It's a massive undertaking, especially if you're going to do it. Make sure that you do videos that are going to convert, not just spam videos.
Yeah.
I mean, make this worth your while. If you're going to put in this much time, thought, and energy into something, because the real benefit is going to come from all the traffic and everything. All of the benefits are from YouTube, because you're doing everything in there. And so, yeah, the description in each video is siloing method that we teach in YouTube Silo Academy, isn't it?
Yep.
I forget
Yep.
which one. Yeah,
That's it.
it's exactly what we teach. You put a link to the next one in the description, and then, yeah, I mean, using Drive, guys. That's what RYS Academy is all about. That's the foundation. That's where we do all our dirty work. And so you're going in there in the belly of the beast. You're protecting yourself, and then you're feeding off of Google's narcissism, where Google, of course, is going to give preference to its videos, to its files and folders, and to its users. They say they don't, but that's bullshit. We know they do. Whether it ends up increasing the ranking of the website, I'm not sure. You'll have to test. Maybe the pages where the videos, if you embed the videos in individual pages, if you decide to embed well, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna give away everything, but um, yeah, and yeah, of course, these become perfect spam points. These become perfect spam points back to the video channel, video playlist, and the videos themselves. So this looks really, really good. And anytime you use Drive, it's a sound strategy.
Yeah. And I want to, agree or co-sign what Marco just said about videos that convert, guys. The days of just using pure spam videos for traffic generation or for conversions, especially, are pretty much gone. I found that you can still spam to kind of test things, but they don't convert, and the conversion rates are terrible compared to videos that are done correctly. And it's because people have become conditioned to not react to spam, right? To ignore spam. And that's just, guys, you got to think about typical internet users, not us. We're marketers, right? We're so-called experts, right? But, like the typical internet user, they're becoming more sophisticated or more savvy, right? And so the kind of stuff that we could do 3 years ago and still generate good results with is not working so much anymore. Now, I'm not talking about like SEO tactics. They still may work just as well or better or whatever. I'm talking about what your intended goal is, right? Whatever your conversion goal is, unless you've got a compelling message now with a decent quality video, then a lot of the times people are going to ignore that shit and go right to the next video. And so my point is, or, the next link in line, which could be a video, another Google listing, whatever. My point is a lot of people will immediately ignore spam. Now, of course, that's not always the case, but it's a lot more common now for that to happen. And so I take the time now to really make sure that I work on creating videos that are much, much higher quality, right? And so, in fact, we've got a masterclass webinar following today, the Hump Day Hangouts, to make up for last week. Since we didn't have masterclass last week, Adam and I were in Dallas for the ClickFunnels event. And I'm doing a YouTube case study. That's what I'm going to be showing today, announcing that. And I'm creating, and it's using the YouTube silo method and Serp Space and Video Powerhouse. It's pretty much the two primary methods I'm going to be using for ranking these videos in this case study. And every single one of the videos in the silo that I'm creating are going to be like high production value videos. In other words, videos that they're not spam. It's not like taking one video and just changing the file type. I'm actually recording different videos for all these different keywords in the silo that I'm building out. And it's, yes, it takes more time, But my point is I would rather do it right the first time and have it not only get the videos ranked, but have them convert so that my work is done, than to go out and, unless you're doing it specifically for testing purposes. I'm not even testing this niche because it's a niche that I'm in already for one of my projects that I'm working on. So I'm not even testing it. I'm just going out and and it's pretty competitive for some of the, it's very competitive for some of the keywords I'm going after, but that's why I'm using the silo method. And I'm recording all these good videos, and it's going to take me several weeks to complete this project, because every one of those videos are going to be genuine videos, like original, unique videos, and not just like file type or encoding unique. I'm talking about like a new script for every video, that kind of stuff. So it's going to take a lot of time, but it's going to, provided that I can rank it, which I'm quite sure, or rank many of the keywords, which I'm quite sure that I can. They should convert well, and they should produce a lot of traffic to the project that I'm trying to, that I'm pursuing right now. So my point is, guys, take your time, go through it. If you want to test with spam, that's great. Do it, because then you can identify the low hanging fruit that you can rank for quickly and easily, but then go out and create or have videos created that are going to convert and with a more compelling message, and also that just aren't spammy, right? And then go back and target those keywords that you've already identified through testing. That's my point, is that you'll get a lot more. I don't like rework, and I don't know who does. I guess the churn and burn guys do, but I particularly don't like to do stuff just to find out, that they're not converting and I have to redo it, or that I get my channel terminated because it was spam. Does that make sense? So, all right, cool. That's a great question, Jay, and thanks for helping, Marco. We're going to move on to the next one. Scott's up. He says, question, there was a first page domination technique where you point lots of GSA links to a high domain authority social media property like Facebook or Foursquare, etc., to rank for a targeted keyword. Does this technique still work? If no, what can I do to achieve this result? Thanks, Scott. Well, Scott, it depends. Sometimes you can still do that. It's not as easy as it used to be. 2-3 years ago, yeah, you could do that. It was like clockwork. You could just take a high domain authority. And it varies, by the way, guys, for keywords. Like, what I would suggest that you do is whatever kind of keyword it is that you're trying to rank for is go search in Google for that keyword and related or very, very similar, closely related, what Google would call close variants, right? And look for, and just do a survey of the top 2 pages, right? So page 1 and 2 of Google results, and take a look and see what kind of Web 2 or citation type properties are ranking. And you should see a few of them that are common across all the search terms that you're looking at, right? And those are going to be the ones that you're going to have the best or most likely be able to rank using a method like that. Now, I haven't done any pure spam ranking on anything like that in probably a year or a year and a half. So I'm not 100% sure if that still works. I can assume that it doesn't work as well as it used to. But I guess, Marco, you've been testing with a lot of different link types right now. Have you? What are your experience with that right now?
Just let's see. Just last week, we hammered something with 1 million GSA links.
Wow.
Just a couple, and it shot it to number 1. And we're talking about a very competitive term in a very competitive niche in a metropolitan area with I think it's over 1 million people in that area. I'm not going to say where, because I don't want anyone going and looking and trying to reverse engineer what I'm doing and then taking credit for it. But I have to I have a master chemist, I have the mad doctor Gary Kerwin, and then I have someone else that's just an awesome spammer. We're all getting together Wednesdays and Saturdays. This is why my back is the way it is, because I'm spending just way too much time in the lab trying to just mess with Google. But it works if you set it up the right way.
Well, that was my question. Right, that was kind of what I was getting at. Now, I know what we're doing with Google properties, but what about other Web 2 properties? Have you tested any of those recently?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
and cool. In fact, we're in many where you get no follow link by default, but we can get do follow links out of them. And so, that's coming, guys. I told you, I'm in the lab. Look for it August of this year. The way that I'm going to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the original release of RYS Academy is by coming up with something better, if that's possible. I went in the lab with that in mind, making something better than RYS, which is by far the best ranking course there is right now. Because I mean, you can go in, apply. If you go in and you follow the training to the letter and you apply it, you will rank, period. Anyone who doesn't feel like putting in the time, don't bother giving me your money. I mean, I'll gladly take your money, but then you're going to be angry that you spent all that money and didn't get results, and then it turns out that you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, like the Facebook group comments is, I'm not getting results. And then we go look at it, and, well, that's why you didn't follow the instructions. But
yeah.
So Scott says where you point lots of GSA links. So Scott, there's your answer. Yes, it works as long as lots equals 1 million or something, some ungodly amount of links like that. So very cool. And again, I do recommend though, Scott, seriously, go look at, like you just listed Facebook or Foursquare. I understand those are just examples, but take a look at the keywords that you're actually, the niche that you're playing, like look in the neighborhood that you're playing in, and take a look at what the properties. You should be able to determine a handful of properties that consistently appear on page 1 or 2 for close variant keywords in that particular industry. And those are going to be your best bets. Okay, Martin's up. He says, howdy, guys. First up, keep up the good work. Loving this stuff. I'll +1 that. A few questions, if you don't mind. Number 1, I have a branded ifttt network. Guys, I think we're going to have to start calling them syndication networks. If you didn't notice, we rebranded everything, and there was a reason for that. So I'm going to read it as to cover our ass. I have a branded syndication network for a company. Is it okay to use a drive stack in the same drive account that's running the network, but in a separate folder, as a legitimate company would have this kept all in one drive anyways? Yeah, you could. Martin, you certainly can. Here's the only reason why I recommend against doing that, because if at some point Google decides that what the nasty stuff we do with Drive is they don't like it anymore, then they could potentially levy a penalty against the company, or the account owner, right? And I don't know that that's the case, but I always try to reduce my exposure or eliminate my risk at all, altogether if possible. And so that's why I recommend that, it doesn't take a lot to set up another Gmail account, and you can add, create the drive stack under the new Gmail account, and then add your client, the business, the company, as a page manager or a drive manager, or share the drive folders with that other, the original Gmail account. And then that way they can still access those drive folders and files from their account, but it's owned by a persona account. And I recommend doing that because it covers your ass. In other words, if something were to happen, down the road, and Google says anybody that's spamming Drive or using Drive for SEO purposes or whatever is now going to get smacked or slapped or whatever, then it wouldn't affect the actual company account. It would affect the persona account, because that's the Drive folder owner, if that makes sense. So that's what I recommend, is always trying to mitigate your risk as much as possible, Martin. You certainly can do it the other way, but just know that there's a risk involved there if potentially Google decides that that's going to be an issue. All right. Number 2, can staff members for the business essentially become additional personas for their own ifttt network that shares the content from the branded tier 1 with other content from RSS mashing, but set as contributors to the tier 1 branded network, and in the interlink, when the interlinking process is done? You can, Martin. That's something that you actually can do, because now it has to be, in my opinion, it would have to be a clear association between the other tier 1 networks with the company. In other words, it would have to be listed on like all of the interlinked properties and such. It would have to make a clear connection to the actual company. And I certainly would recommend, which you mentioned you would already do, adding additional content to those persona networks, or actually, I say persona networks because they're not actually branded networks, but they could be like real people networks. They don't have to be like fake persona networks. But yeah, that makes sense. If as long as there's a clear connection to the actual business entity that from the branded network. And if you're, what I recommend is absolutely publishing additional content to that. I don't recommend publishing other content to your tier 1 branded network. We advise against that because we want to keep that as like the golden frame, right? We want all of the content on the branded network to be coming specifically and directly from the money site and the money site alone, right? You can use curated content on the money site, but it's still being published from the money site. But on any sort of like persona-based supplementary networks, or supplemental networks, then I would absolutely have additional content because that would be logical and natural. Think about it, guys. Most people don't just share content from one source over and over and over again, right? Brands do it, yes, but people don't, because people generally have interest in things other than just one company. So they'll share content across their social media properties from various companies, various topics for that matter. That is content from other sources. So that's what I recommend that you do. You seem like you've got a good handle on things already, Martin, but yes, I can say that that's a good strategy. Okay. Just keep those things in mind. He says, cheers guys. PS, going to be using your RSS master affiliate link just to share some love. I'd +1 it again, but I can't. Thanks, Martin. Damon's up. Damon says, so I have a single keyword branded term for a video used to rank for. A single keyword branded term, a video used to rank for. Okay. For years, it completely dropped off, but the video still ranks for the branded term plus location or the branded term plus apartments, etc. I added some video SEO mojo and the 2+ word terms ranked higher, added 5 high authority SAPE links, and those keywords ranked even higher. Still not ranking for the single word term. Man, single word terms, I don't think I've ever even tried to do that. So that's got to be tough, Damon. Just purchased 20 expired high DA tumblrs, and daily I'm adding either embeds or images and anchor text for the branded phrase. I also bought 22 Serp Space links in the real estate niche. Okay, still not ranking for the main term. For years, the main term was ranking, and I need to get it to rank again. I'm baffled as to what happened. My next steps are update the content, hasn't been updated in years, add a hashtag and the NAP, and run a press release with the NAP in it, and modify the video date. I remember Chris, I think, noticed that old rankings of websites with the embeds were capturing old dates and tanking rankings. Yeah, what Damon's talking about was I thought it was Gary. Yeah, I think it was Gary, that Dr. Gary, that actually was talking about that in the mastermind. He did some testing on that. It wasn't until he and others re-embedded the video with the new embed code or changed the date that the rankings resumed. Testing everything so far, no bueno. Any recommendations? Or hell no. Don't do that. The channel is well aged with plenty of videos too. No, I mean, it sounds like everything you got going on, Damon, is sound. My first go-to thing now is if I've tried every SEO trick up my sleeve and I can't get a video to rank where I want it to, then the next thing that I always do, and I know you're aware of this, Damon, is I set up ads, YouTube ads, and start driving traffic to there, especially if it's a local keyword that you're targeting, because you can set the geographic radius or targeting, right? So geo-targeting, and you can get clicks from local IPs, and that has a huge effect on local video, is getting clicks from local IPs. And so here's the thing. If it's local, which it sounds like it is, maybe it's not, but if it is local, then usually with YouTube ads, you can go like really broad with your targeting as far as topical or interest targeting. Like I don't even use keyword targeting. I would just use interest-based targeting, right? And I do that specifically because I want more clicks from local IPs. And that's all I'm really caring about. I don't care if the clicks are coming from relevant traffic sources or not. At that point, I'm looking for clicks from local IPs. And that's so I'll set my interest target. I generally won't even use keyword targeting. I would just set radius targeting and then use like interest targeting. You can use something like affinity audience targeting, but that's really, really broad and you'll get a shit ton of clicks very, very quickly. So you'd have to set your budget fairly low for that. But you can get more specific with interest-based targeting. And then, it ends up that it's somewhat relevant traffic as well as just locally relevant, right? Geographically relevant, which should help. All right.
I'd like to ask him a question. I'd like to ask, when he says that he bought 22 Serp Space links, in the real estate niche. Does he mean that he got 20, that he went into our video powerhouse embed network?
He probably bought domains. I'm not sure, but he might have
Yeah,
bought domains.
because nowhere in here do I see that he's even tried the embed route.
Yeah, well,
And
he
if
should.
yeah, and
I mean,
if he does go with sorry, but while I'm thinking about this, if he does go with a press release, which I saw that it's in his plans, try a press release service that will allow you to embed a video. You might have to pay a little bit more, but I mean you could use the term that you're looking for in the press release, and you can mitigate that branded anchor text with everything else that you're doing to cushion it. I don't
yeah.
know if that makes sense, but I think that's what I would. Well, besides RYS Academy, of course, I don't see how if it's local and you're not doing the map and the iframe stacking and all that stuff that you can do in RYS Academy. I don't see why not.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, Damon, is, I mean, definitely, again, I said after all SEO tricks were used up. So that includes definitely do a drive stack for the video too, because that's very, very powerful as well. And then you've got all those drive files that you can just hammer and just push all the juice that you want to that one video through the Google files. So, okay, cool. Let's see for our calling for support question. Okay, I think Adam's. I think I'll get you, Adam. Okay, Justin's up. Hey guys, Justin here. Let's get right into this shit. Okay, Justin. SSL certificate. Should I always use one on my site? I would say now, if you're building a new site, yes. For all sites going forward, I don't recommend going back and swapping or adding SSL certificates to sites that are already existing, unless you're collecting sensitive data on the site, in which case it's pretty much a requirement or a necessity now. But like for standard just opt-in or contact forms and that kind of stuff, I don't think it's necessary. I know that, they've been pushing it and it's becoming more and more, but I'll be honest with you, it's a real pain in the ass switching old sites over to SSL. It can cause a whole bunch of problems, and I always end up just hiring somebody off of Upwork to handle all that shit for me because I don't want to do it. I've tried to do it in the past, and it's just a nightmare. It's a headache, and I don't like dealing with it. But all sites going forward, guys, there's a lot of hosting providers now that will, as kind of like incentive for you to come sign up, will give you free SSL certificates. And one of them that I'm using for one of the affiliate projects that I'm doing a lot of work on right now is WPX Hosting, which was formerly Traffic Planet Hosting. Terry Kyle, it's his hosting service. It's more expensive than your average hosting service, but the servers are way better. He doesn't overload the IP blocks, and you get free SSL certificates. And at least there was a promotion. I don't know if it's still available. You get free Mac CDN content delivery network setup. And I don't know. That was a promotion going on a couple months ago. I don't know if that's still available, but he does offer free SSL certificates, which is awesome. And their support over there at WPX Hosting is amazing. Now, typically, I recommend using Liquid Web, but you have to have a VPS or a dedicated server. Or now with Liquid Web, they don't have shared hosting anymore. So if you can afford it, and if you're going to be doing a lot of client work, I recommend getting your own VPS, because then you can charge your clients for hosting, right? And you can get you can make money off the hosting literally, and have everything on a dedicated server or a VPS with your own dedicated IP and that kind of stuff. And that I recommend doing if you're going to be doing a lot of it. But if you're looking just for like shared hosting and try to keep your costs down, I still recommend going with a better host such as WPX Hosting. Again, Terry Kyle's hosting solution. It's very, very good. I'm using it for one of my bigger projects that I'm working on right now, and I'm really happy with their support and everything. Okay. All right. Do you guys have any comments on that before we move to the second question?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay. Number 2, if I have 2 full 2-tier networks, what would be the best starter package for GSA, FCS, FCA, or I guess that means FCS, link package from Serp Space? I'd like to start with the smallest package, but I'm unsure which network ring or properties I submit to you guys. I would go with the branded tier 1 network. That's always the standard operating procedure, right? That's what I would do. Once the networks are built and I get some seed content published, what I call seasoning the network, right? So 2 or 3 posts out from the money site or videos from the YouTube channel. then I will go back and send it over to get links built. Or, if you're doing it all at once, like if you order the network and then apparently you've already got them, but if you're ordering a network and the upgrade for the link package, that's fine. But what I recommend that you do is, have some content ready so that when you get the delivered network that you can go ahead and publish a few posts right away. And that just helps, in my opinion. I like to try to get a couple posts on the network before I have a bunch of links built to it. But again, it just depends on what the timing is for you. But I always start off with your branded network, guys, for that, because that's ground zero, in my opinion, right? The tier 2 networks, it's great if you have the money or the time or the resources to build links to the tier 2 networks, go ahead. But I always start with just the tier 1 networks and see what kind of results I can get from that. I don't generally have my tier 2 networks like links built to them unless I need it. So I always start with the branded network first, see what kind of results I can achieve. And then if I need additional power, then that's when I'll go back and have the second tiers, links built to the second tier as well. Okay. Number 3, protecting yourself. Guys, by the way, just a reminder, we don't generally like people posting this many questions in one post, guys. It's only because it's not fair to other people. We'll go ahead and run through these very quickly, but protecting yourself from clients who chose not to continue to pay. I've read that this is unethical, and some SEOs are against it. I am not, and would like a brief description of how to set it up. Let's say your client's domain is xyzbuilding.com. Is it easy as setting up xyzbuilding.info and using a redirect plugin to point to their site? All links will be built to the .info. Do you use Pretty Links WordPress plugin to accomplish this? Which plugin do you prefer for redirects? Does this have any negative SEO consequences? Okay, I don't think it's unethical at all. I really don't. I find there's nothing unethical about it because, first of all, if you're doing client work on their domain to begin with, like, for example, citation building, content marketing to a syndication network, right? That all of those links are going to be built directly to the client's domain. So in my opinion, they're getting all the stuff that they're paying for. But what I like to do is set up my own redirect domain for all external links that I build. Like, not what I mean is separate and apart from like citations, press releases, and content marketing distributed via the syndication network, right? But all like third-party or external links that I would be building, I like to build through my own domain because that, it protects me, guys. And here's the thing, again, if your client decides that they don't need you anymore because somebody from India called them and said that they can do the same thing for $99 a month, well, first of all, good luck. But second of all, let's say that they drop you for that. You can remove the redirects, and now you have a domain that at least has some inherent authority, right? It's got some links built to it that now, and why not? It's your work, right? It's your work. You're still providing them with what they paid for as far as building links direct to their domain through the other methods that I just mentioned. But for all external link stuff that you've gone out and put your hard time, your effort into finding the link placements, purchasing them, whatever, getting the links, why not have it go through your domain? That's all. It's very, very simple, and I don't think it's unethical at all. What I think is unethical is when a client decides that they don't need you anymore after you've got them ranked. That's what I think is unethical. Okay. So that said, yeah, you can just use a redirect plugin. It's very, very simple. You could do it in HT Access. You could also set up, if you're comfortable. I don't. Typically, I end up contacting the host if I need to do a bunch of stuff in HT Access, or I'll contact one of my partners that's better with that stuff. Like Chris P. I leaned on him a couple weeks ago for some of that stuff as well. But you can do it also in cPanel. But the easiest way is just set up a WordPress site on your .info domain in this case, and just do a page by, a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every page on the money site, you make a similar page on your site. In fact, what I've done in the past is clone the client's site, then install the clone on my domain, and then set up a page-by-page redirect. And you can do that with Simple 301 Redirects. That's the plugin name, Simple 301 Redirects. And they have a bulk 301 redirect add-on. It's just an extension or a plugin add-on that you can, it's free. And you can add that on in WordPress. By the way, when you do Simple 301 Redirects or search for that in the plugin repository, it'll come up right next to it from your WordPress dashboard, So it'll come up right next to it. You can click on that, and then you can use a spreadsheet, which makes it super simple. So all you have to do is, you can go to the sitemap of the money site and extract all the URLs from the money site, from the sitemap, and put them in column A, and then put in column B all the or excuse me, put them in column B, which would be your destination URL. And then in column A, you would put the slugs from your.info domain. It's very, very simple to do. It's pretty self-explanatory. It sounds like you know enough that you probably don't need any more explanation than that. Okay.
If I can add something to
Please.
that, he's new, right? So I can understand where he's reluctant in negotiations. He's not that skilled, but as he goes into this, he's going to have to learn to try to control like the YouTube channel, try to rank his own videos and add the client's phone number on the YouTube so that the phone rings through to the client, but the video is yours. This way, if anything happens, you just swap out the phone number to the competitor, right?
Yeah.
So control the channel if you can't control the phone number, because you need to check what's ringing and through what's being said, what's going on, especially if you're doing lead gen. I mean, it all depends on how you end up negotiating the deal. This is where you have to become skilled also as a salesman and try to leverage your power and what you can do so that you can maintain as much control as possible. You never want to give up control to the client completely, because then you're at the client's mercy.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, guys. You know, if you happen to use your own channels to rank other people's videos, which is fine, and I recommend doing that. Like, don't if somebody contacts you and says that they, or whatever, like you're out prospecting and a client has a video and they want you to rank it, tell them fine. You're going to rank it on your channel. You download the video and you upload it to your channel. Your networks, your syndication networks, all the link building, everything is going to benefit your channel. If the client balks at that, or they have you catch any resistance from that, then say fine, I'll absolutely rank your video on your YouTube channel, but it's going to cost this much more. So have two pricing structures. One, which would be your normal pricing structure for putting the for requiring the video to be ranked on your channel. That way, all the SEO work you do benefits your channel, right? They still get the benefit of the traffic and the rankings, and most clients don't give a shit about that. But like about whether it's on their channel or not, all they want is the results that it can produce, right? But sometimes, occasionally, you will get somebody that will question why you want it on your channel. And by the way, the answer to that is because I have a channel that I have SEO'd to the hilt that has a lot of inherent authority, and I'm able to rank videos very, very quickly. If I have to try to rank on your channel, which has little or no SEO done to it, it's going to be an enormous amount of work. Relative to what I've already done, it's going to be like a huge amount of work. So sure, Mr. Client, Mr. Business Owner, Mrs. Business Owner, whatever, I can still do it on your channel, but it's going to cost triple or whatever it is that you decide. Make it to where, like, once you spit that number at them, they freak out and say, oh no, we'll just go with your channel. We'll go with option A. That's the way you get around it. And I've never had a client say, or a prospect say, okay, never mind, we'll go somewhere else. Never once has that ever happened to me. Okay. And I make it's an absolute requirement to be on my channel, or else I'm going to charge them double or triple what I would charge normally. All right, guys, man, this question's a lot. Justin, I'm going to try to run through very, very quickly. I'm going to keep these very short. Just acquired my first client, would like to be able to expand his site surrounding in the town cities. Should I accomplish this by building on subdomains like masterclass teaches, or would this be better to silo with cities, service posts, as he is just one brand name? That's going to be up to you, Justin. I prefer the subdomain method. It is more work because you have to set up separate WordPress sites for each. I prefer that method myself. But you can do it on one site, and you can use just categories and, pages and posts. Basically, you can silo the site out and accomplish the same thing. The reason why I like to use subdomains, though, is because, a lot of the times we black hat our addresses. Like, we do stuff that's not, in line with the terms of service. And so I don't want, if one of my sites were to get penalized, it only will affect the one location, the subdomain that got penalized, as opposed to if you do it on the root domain and something happens, then your entire site will be penalized, and you end up losing the traffic from all of those various locations. So again, just like I mentioned earlier to Martin, I try to mitigate my risk as much as possible. That's why I'm willing to put in the additional work and set up separate subdomains for each location. But that, again, it's up to you. How much risk, how much risk tolerance do you have? That was the word I was looking for, tolerance. Number 5, what would you do differently with client sites versus lead gen properties as far as link building? You said that you were very aggressive with lead gen sites. So what would be some of the things you do differently? Well, with lead gen sites, because they're mine, I'm not as worried. I certainly don't want to catch penalties on my lead gen sites. Like I mentioned, I hate rework, but I am certainly more aggressive. Like I haven't done it in a while now, but I used to use SAPE links all the time to my own lead gen sites. I would run them through a 301 redirect, or to a 301 through a 301 redirect and into a buffer property like one of the syndication network properties or something like that. But that's all I'm saying. I will do more like external link building outside of the methods that we teach for safety, which is pretty much all the methods we teach are generally for long-term effect and for safety reasons. But so a lot of the stuff that we don't teach, which is because it's more risky, and we don't want anybody coming back and saying, well, you told us to do this. No, that's why we don't talk about that stuff that much other than in Mastermind. And we disclaim right off the bat that this is stuff that could get you into trouble, right? And so with lead gen sites, I'll do a lot of the stuff that could get me into trouble. I still try to reduce risk as much as possible, but I just use additional third-party link sources. That makes sense. Okay. And I'm faster. I'll be, as far as link velocity, I'll increase link velocity, which means, I'll build links faster, that kind of stuff. I'm just more aggressive with my lead gen properties because they're mine. And because if it goes down, I can build another one very, very quickly. But I don't like rework, so I try to prevent that from happening. And yes, the coolest guy in Culpeper. That's funny. Jonathan says, I set up an expired domain over a month ago and posted some articles from, okay, this question, I read through this already earlier. He's having indexing issues. Jonathan, what I would recommend doing is, first of all, you can do a few things like, and I've mentioned this before, but if you have a Twitter account that is active, tweeting like a genuine real Twitter account, or if you know somebody that does, tweeting a link will bring a bot to come crawling very, very quickly. That can sometimes help things to get indexed, as well as Google Drive files, right? Put a link in a Drive file, set it to public. And a lot of times that'll help it to index as well. But keep in mind, because you already submitted it to the Search Console submit URL feature, that's a lot of the times it just here. Let me explain, guys. I have the project I'm working on for the masterclass case study, which is kind of like that's an ongoing project for me now. That the domain that I'm using caught a manual spam action penalty over a year ago. Because I was spamming the hell out of it with ATM lead gadget style, mass page generators type sites. And so I caught a manual spam action penalty, cherry domain though. And so when I revived this project a few months ago, which became the masterclass case study that I've been working on for the last few months, I wanted to use that domain because it was an awesome, awesome domain. So I went ahead and had a whole new site built. I actually hired a third-party company to build the site and everything. And then once, had original content and all that. And then I went back to Search Console and submitted a reconsideration request, and I got it approved. I got it accepted. But it took like 4 or 5 weeks before it indexed, which was it was a pain in the ass. And so I just did the same things that I just mentioned to you. I submitted via URL. I submitted, the URL submitter, Search Console. I submitted the sitemaps. I tweeted it. Obviously, I was posting content, and it has a syndication network around it. So that helps a lot as well. And then, I also had a drive stack created and started, and that usually helps. And it took, like I said, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks before the first link indexed at all from the site. And it was really, really slow to start indexing. I just checked it yesterday, and I think there's 11 or 12 indexed links now. So if it's a site that just for whatever reason isn't indexing, you can do the things that I said and just be a little bit patient and see what happens. If it still hasn't indexed after doing some of the things I just mentioned and just being patient, then, and I know you said it's been 2.5 weeks, then, I'm not sure what you can do there except for replace the domain, which kind of sucks. I know. So any comments on that, Marco? We only got like 5 minutes left and we got a lot of questions left.
No. I totally agree. So let's just push on.
All right, cool. Another meme from Wayne. Ven says, hey, Bradley, I have 2 questions I want to ask today. What is the name of the microphone you are using? This one is the Blue Snowball. Blue microphones. It's the Snowball. So I love them. This is the second one I've had. The only problem is occasionally the connection in the back gets loose. And when it does, it'll create popping sounds while you're recording audio. And it sucks, especially if you don't know that it's doing that until after you've recorded a 1 hour video or done a webinar and then you listen to the replay and it's popping and it's like, you know, but that's the only drawback, but I really do like the mics. So how do you drive traffic to your affiliate link using YouTube ads as an affiliate link is prohibited to use as a landing page? Yeah, set up a bridge page. Set up your own landing page then on your own domain. Put all the Google AdWords compliance stuff that you need, like an about tab, contact information, privacy policy, disclaimer, terms of service. Put all those links on there. Primarily make sure that you have the business name and the contact information right on the landing page. You can do it small at the bottom. But yeah, you want to set up your own landing page that you drive traffic to. Okay. And then you can have from the landing page, you can send people to an affiliate offer, but you have to be careful about that too. You have to provide value on the landing page. It can't just be like literally a landing page and a video and an affiliate link. You might be able to get away with that. In fact, you can get away with that, but AdWords campaigns will be manually reviewed from time to time. And if a reviewer determines that they don't like that, then they'll suspend your site down the road. It's happened to me many, many times now. My sites get suspended all the time in AdWords, guys, but it's usually something very, very small. And we had a question about this. I don't remember, one of our groups, we had a question about this recently. And I always recommend just calling AdWords. Every time I get a site suspended, that's the first thing I do. I just call AdWords up, do AdWords support, and I ask them, can you tell me what it is? Because they'll send you an email, but it's so vague as to what it is that most of the time it's so vague that you don't know what to do to fix it. So I just call and I have somebody literally talk me through it over the phone and take a look at it. And most of the time it ends up getting sent up to the higher level. And then they end up reinstating the site, or they'll send me more information, sometimes even with screenshots, and say this needs to be corrected, blah blah blah, and I'll correct it, and then I'll resubmit for reconsideration, and I always end up getting them approved again. There's only one site, funny enough, bradleybenner.com. That's the only site that I have not been able to get unsuspended from AdWords yet. So, and that's because I was doing like a lot of like just shitty affiliate offers on that, which was for testing purposes, which I shouldn't have done on my own domain, like my own name domain, but I did. So anyways, yeah, set up a bridge page. Next, Edward says, Bradley, should I optimize input of properties, all photos that will go into Instagram and IMGUR? IMGUR, I would say, yeah. Instagram, I have no idea. I've never done a damn thing on Instagram, Edward, so I really don't know if that makes any difference at all or not. Essentially for optimizing, you mean like adding metadata and stuff like that. Typically, if I'm going to be uploading image files to anywhere, I optimize the metadata. Any comments on that, guys? And yeah, Adam, I saw the warning.
No, let's move on.
Okay. Tom says, hey guys, since there is no way to add info to the video and re-upload it without changing the URL, do you suggest not ever adding a phone number directly in the video? Okay, Tom, I recommend using a virtual phone number. I know you mentioned that that you weren't ready to do that yet, but I recommend that you do, because you keep 100% control that way. However, okay, Adam, I see your message. However, what you could do is you could use an annotation, right, in the video itself. So that's what I would do. Honestly, I always just set up my own virtual phone number. It's only a couple bucks a month, guys. And like, if you put in the work to rank a video and it's got like a client's phone number on it, and then like Marco said earlier, the client decides that they don't want to pay you anymore, you can go in and you're not able to swap the number if it's actually in the video itself. I'm not talking about the title or the description. You can swap that out. I'm talking about if the video is displayed in, or the phone number is displayed in the actual video itself, right? And so that's why I like to, because then you, by the way, guys, if that happens, if you have a phone number in a video and all of a sudden you lose that client or whatever, don't delete the video. Turn it to unlisted. Because if you've already done a bunch of SEO work to it, you've got juice flowing into that video. So if you delete that video, you've just literally cut it off just like that. It's gone. All that work that you've done will not benefit your channel at all anymore, because that video is no more. It's non-existent. So don't ever delete the video. Just turn it to unlisted. It will fall out of Google's index immediately, and you'll still benefit from all the inbound link juice that's flowing through that video that flows back up through your silo if you're using playlists, which you should be, and to your channel. Right? And but anyways, that said, if you use a virtual phone number, then all you got to do is redirect where the phone number goes. That's what I recommend. But last part of it is you can use annotations. And remember, there's end screens now and all of that. So you can go in and add an annotation and swap out numbers in the annotation, because that's just text that you input. And you can also change the end screen, edit the end screen, or and cards too. You can use cards too. Okay. Okay, we have to wrap up, guys. I got to get ready for masterclass, and that's in 5 minutes. Adam said that somebody was asking, I guess it's a Jeff, something about Serp Space. Guys, if there's problems with Serp Space or anything, just go to Serp Space support. There's support. Click on support in there. I mean, that's all we can do, guys. They're two separate support entities, so you have to go through Serp Space support for Serp Space questions or help. Okay. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions. It was a lot. Next week we will tell me when you guys can hear me again. Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, guys, just please do me a favor. Next week, try not to post 5 questions in one post, because that makes it very, very difficult for us to get to other people's questions. It's okay to post more than one question, but just break them up a little bit, please. And thanks for everybody being here. We'll see you in masterclass in a few minutes if you're part of that. If not, you should be. So see y'all later. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Guys.